On today's episode, we talk about the cobbler and his shoes, we talk about remote teams, and we talk about planning for $1 million. Hey everybody, this is Adam Steele, and this is another episode of the Steele Entrepreneur Show. This is episode 14 I think. And we're going to do something a little bit differently today. We're, as you will have noticed, we are taping outside, and this really probably should have been 13.5, but we're going to call it 14. We're going to do lessons learned. So we're going to talk about different things that I've sort of picked up over the past 7 years and what I got from them, and hopefully there might be something that you too will get from them. So without further ado, Rihanna, why don't you get us started?
The cobbler and his shoes.
Yes.
What is that one?
You heard that saying before?
No, what's the saying?
I don't actually know the full saying. I don't know the full saying, but it's the way it goes is it's kind of like the cobbler has shit shoes. So like he makes like everybody, all his clients, perfect shoes, or fixes or whatever, but his shoes are just ratty and crappy, right? And so the way that relates to me or to others is I think we get so busy in the day-to-day of running our business that we forget about ourselves. We forget about our own marketing. We forget about our own website. We focus, just on delivering whatever it is that our clients are paying for. And I know in my case, I woke up one day and I realized that, while we were still getting referrals, which was good, they kind of teetered off a little bit for, maybe was a few months or something like that. And we had nothing else coming in. And I realized that all of my clients were doing very, very well, but I was not doing well. I had let my marketing slip. I had kept and forgotten about my shitty website, and it wasn't working for me. There was nothing that was keeping my business alive. And if I were to lose, one or two or whatever clients, where would that leave me? So essentially, I was letting my business, my marketing, my whatever, basically stand still, basically deteriorate. And in my business, that just can't be. I'm a digital marketing company. So if my digital marketing is on point, isn't on point, how do you think that's going to look for other people hoping to hire me to do the same thing, right? So I think it's really important that you set some time aside, some money aside for your own marketing, and don't sacrifice that regardless of how busy you will get, because your clients will leave you. Your client, it's inevitable. The churn is inevitable in just about every business, especially digital marketing. They'll get approached by some other SEO company or some other person who promises to be better and has maybe a little bit better salesmanship than perhaps you do. And so they think, oh, the grass is greener on the other side. And so they jet and they go to someone else. Well, now how are you going to bring in someone else, right? What new clients are coming in? Well, they're only coming in if you've done things to set yourself up for that. And so with us, we had abysmal rankings. We had a piece of crap website. And it wasn't until, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago that we actually started giving a crap about our own marketing. And unfortunately, that put us way behind the curve. We're still, we're an SEO company and we're struggling to get onto first page even after 2 years. We're up against guys who are just as talented as we are, or maybe not as talented as we are, but they've been doing it for 10 years, right? They started doing it when we should have started doing it. And so that sort of history, it snowballs. And so it's very hard to get in front of the incumbent sometimes, especially in this space. So it's important not to forget about yourself, not to get so busy that you start neglecting how you are getting new business. And that was a very a very tough lesson to learn for me, because it happened when we were already slow. So we lost a couple clients because, you know, we were still trying to figure it out, and I was still learning to figure out how to manage cash flow, and things got really sketchy for a little while because, you know, I hadn't thought this would happen, and I hadn't been focusing on myself. I was focusing on my clients. So don't think that your clients will be around forever. Don't think that your clients can sustain you forever. Always be setting aside a little bit of time for your own pair of shoes, for your own website, for your own marketing. Set a little money aside, set a little bit of time aside, and focus on that. What do we have next?
The joys and pains of an office or not having an office.
Yeah, there's a certain I think glamour that goes with having sort of an office. You can bring clients in, and you know, you can have, you know, Friday drinks with your team. You know, I worked in this one office where we had like a bunch of old, like an N64, and we had Mario Kart, and we would, at lunch, we'd go and hang out and play. There's a certain sort of camaraderie. There's a certain sort of a culture that comes with an office, and it's always, you know, despite what I'll say, it's always you know, been something that in the back of my mind I've kind of wanted. But at the same time, there's a lot of good reasons for not having one. Firstly, do you actually need one? In my case, I do not. My business is completely remote, and in a lot of ways that is in a lot of ways, it's a better business model. There certainly is a lot less responsibility involved when you have subcontractors versus employees. I have a lot of agencies that'll come to me and they'll be like, oh man, I wish I had set my business up this way. And I think they're just buried under the minutia that is having an office and having to deal with all these sort of office related activities and responsibilities. So while it's, you know, it might be really cool, you might look really legit, I don't know that I would be any more successful if I had an office. And I venture to guess 95% of people who have an office could be just as successful without one, and probably live a much more happy and free entrepreneurial life. Not to mention their employees as well, probably wouldn't mind leading the same, wouldn't mind the ability to work from home and work when they want to work, as long as the job gets done. I understand that isn't possible in every business, but I certainly believe in a lot of these sort of digital businesses, myself, my own included, it's very possible. I know it's possible because we've done it and we are managing just fine. So I think it's important to sort of chart your own path and not have an office just because every other successful company seems to have an office. I think you got to just kind of do you and figure it out for yourself, and not assume that everybody has it kind of figured out, that they're doing it the right way. It's not true. And I talked about it a little bit in episode 13, I think. You know, with regards to structuring your business and your organizational structure and all that, there's no one way to do it. You just got to sort of do you and figure out what makes sense for you, and try both ways. I had a little office for a little while and it sucked. Nobody wanted to show up. Not that I have a lot of people here locally, but people just preferred to work at home, and if they were happy, then I was happy. So maybe there's some sort of happy medium. Maybe there's some sort of, have an office, but you only have to be there half of the week. I don't know, but I can tell you it's worth experimenting. It's worth trying, both options, and trying to find something that just sort of works for you and works the very best for your team. So, what do we got next? Yeah, I don't know that this was sort of a last minute addition. And I don't know that I really have a lot of material to talk about when it comes to planning for $1 million. But basically what it means, and I wish I could remember where I'd heard it first, but essentially the idea is If you plan for $1 million, when you get to $1 million, you'll be ready, or you'll be some factor of more ready than you would if you were just sort of planning for what you had at the time. So what I mean by that is, if I plan to run a multi-million-dollar company, well, that planning to run a multi-million-dollar company would be much different from planning to run a $100,000 company, or a $70,000 company, or a $50,000 company. Running a multi-million-dollar company, at least in my case, involves lots of people. It involves managing lots of personalities. It involves having proper accounting systems and proper accounting people. It involves having the proper or some sort of proper organizational structure. It requires processes. It requires setting things up in such a way that people know what to do. You don't have to tell them what to do. You've got guides set up. You can onboard people quickly. You can scale quickly. You have infrastructure in place that when you get pressed with more and more business because you're growing, that you're able to take it on, and you're able to take it on in sort of an efficient and non-destructive type of way. So when I think of planning for $1 million, I'm not just thinking of be positive and think that you can create the biggest thing ever. I'm thinking plan to grow, plan to have systems in place that would support 10 times what you're currently doing, and always be picking away at those processes and those systems so that they can support the next 10 clients, or the next 20 clients, or the next 10 people you hire, or what have you. And I didn't get that at first, but later on in business, when things started to really snowball, it made a huge difference in the way that I was able to, hey buddy, you want to be on camera? So cute. Yeah. That's okay.
Hey, Java.
What's her name?
Java.
Java. I like that. Hey, Java.
Our first dog was Mocha, so we decided to stick with the coffee theme.
I like that. Thank you. Have a good day. Very cute. What were you talking about? Plan for $1 million. So I like I was saying, I don't think it's just like a positivity thing. I think it's actually sort of a structural thing, and you just have to set yourself up to be prepared for huge growth. And when you get there, you're going to be much more prepared than you would otherwise, than you would have been if you just sort of sat around and built something that supports what you currently have, but not prepared for what's coming for the future. That's it, isn't it?
That's it.
That's good. Okay, well, let's stop there. As always, I want to thank you guys for checking out the show. I appreciate that you guys would take 15, 20, 30, sometimes 40 minutes out of your day to listen to me speak about my business experience. I hope that with each episode that you get at least one little thing that you can take away. If you know anybody that might be interested in listening to the same, I hope that you'll let them know about it. You'll send them our podcast, or you'll send them our YouTube show. And as always, if you guys have any questions, you can hit me up in the comment section. You can send me an email at adam@magistrateinc.com. You can hit me up on Twitter at AdamGSteele. There's a million ways to get me. We're on Instagram. We're kind of everywhere, and that's kind of the idea. We want to create content that is sort of easily digested by every type of person. People that just want to listen to something while they're at the gym, or somebody who wants to sit in front of their computer and actually see me. So if you have any questions, please let me know. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do that. And if you want to just leave a review on, say, iTunes or something like that, I would really appreciate it. Thank you guys. Have a great week, and I will see you on episode 15. See ya.